3 years ago, you had a plan. Maybe it was not written down. Maybe it was just a quiet certainty you carried, a version of where you would be by now, what your work would look like, what your life would feel like. And now you are here, and it looks different. Not completely different maybe, but different enough that if the version of you from 3 years ago could see today, there would be a gap between what was planned and what is, between what was expected and what arrived. Most people feel this gap privately. They do not talk about it openly because it carries a specific discomfort. The discomfort of having wanted something clearly and not having it. Not from lack of trying, but from something harder to name. This video is about that gap, why it exists, why it is not what you think it is, and what actually closes it. Here is the first thing worth understanding. The gap between your plan and your reality is not primarily a discipline problem. It is a planning problem. Specifically, it is the result of a very common and very human cognitive error. Psychologists call it the planning fallacy, first described by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky in 1979. The idea is this: when people plan for the future, they systematically underestimate how long things will take, how much things will cost, and how many obstacles will appear. Not because they are careless, because the brain, when imagining the future, defaults to the best-case scenario. It pictures the plan working. It does not naturally picture the interruptions, the setbacks, the variables that cannot be predicted from where you are standing. So the plan is built on an optimistic version of reality. And reality, being reality, does not cooperate. This is not a personal failure. It is a universal one. Studies show that even professionals, architects, engineers, lawyers, surgeons consistently underestimate timelines and overestimate outcomes. Even when they have done the same type of project many times before, the planning fallacy is not fixed by experience alone. It requires a deliberate change in how you plan. But here is what makes it more complicated. Most people, when their plan does not work, do not examine the planning. They examine themselves. They conclude that they were not disciplined enough, not committed enough, not the kind of person who follows through. And they carry that conclusion into the next plan, which is built with the same structure as the last one, on the same optimistic assumptions, with the same invisible gaps. And the cycle continues, not because the person is flawed, because the model is. So here is the 3-year rule. It is not a rigid system, it is a reframe, and it has 2 parts. Part 1, most things worth building take 3 years to become real. Not to start, not to show early signs. To become genuinely, visibly, undeniably real. A business that generates real income. A skill that reaches genuine fluency. A creative body of work that has weight and coherence. A physical transformation that is structural and not just surface. A relationship, professional or personal, built on real depth. 3 years. Not because things cannot happen faster, but because the kind of results that last, that compound, that become part of who you are, rather than things you did once, those take time to root. And most people quit before the roots form. They quit at month 4 when the excitement is gone. They quit at month 8 when progress has slowed to a pace that feels invisible. They quit at month 14 when something else looks more promising. And they never discover what was available at month 36, not because they were weak, because nobody told them how long it actually takes. Part 2, your 3-year plan is not a prediction, it is a direction. This is the shift that changes everything. Most people treat their plan as a prediction, a forecast of exactly what will happen if they do the right things. And when reality diverges from the forecast, which it always does, the plan feels broken, and broken plans get abandoned. But a direction is different. A direction says, this is where I am heading, not how exactly I will get there, not what each step will look like, not what the timeline will be with precision, just the direction. And a direction can hold through detours, through unexpected obstacles, through months where progress is invisible. Because the question is not, is this going according to plan? The question is, am I still moving in the right direction? Those are very different questions. And the second one is much harder to lose. So how do you actually apply this? Step 1, identify your real 3-year direction, not a list of goals, one direction. If everything went reasonably well, not perfectly, reasonably, where would you want to be in 3 years that would make you feel like your time was well spent? Not the fantasy version, the honest version, the version that is ambitious but recognizable as yours. Write it in 1 sentence, not a paragraph, 1 sentence, because if you cannot say it in 1 sentence, it is not clear enough yet, and unclear directions produce plans that feel overwhelming before they begin. Step 2, work backwards in quarters, not months. Take your 3-year direction, divide it into 12 quarters. Ask, what does the end of each quarter need to look like for the direction to still be alive? Not perfect, alive, moving, showing some evidence of progress. This does the two things annual planning almost never does. It makes the timeline honest. 3 years is long enough to do something real, and it makes the checkpoints frequent enough to catch drift before it becomes derailment. A quarterly check-in is not a performance review. It is a navigation check. Am I still pointed in the right direction? If yes, continue. If no, what needs to adjust? Not the destination, the route. Step 3, plan for the gap explicitly. This is the most underused planning move available. Before you begin, name the obstacles. Not vaguely, specifically. What is most likely to interrupt this in the first 3 months? What has stopped you before, at this stage, in previous attempts? What external variable is outside your control but likely to affect progress? Name these things before they arrive. Then write one sentence for each. When this happens, I will do this. Not if, when. Because planning for obstacles as certainties rather than possibilities changes how you meet them. They stop being failures. They become scheduled events. Events you already have a response to. And a response you already have is infinitely more useful than a response you have to construct under pressure. Step 4, measure direction, not distance. This is the daily practice. Not how far have I come, but am I still facing the right way? Distance measurements produce discouragement on slow days. Direction measurements produce consistency because direction is binary. Either you are pointed toward where you want to go or you are not. And if you are not, you can correct without judgment. Not a failure, a correction. The way a pilot corrects course dozens of times on every flight. Not because the original heading was wrong, because conditions change and smart navigation adjusts. The goal was never to predict the exact path. The goal was always to arrive. 3 years from now, you will be somewhere. The question is whether that somewhere will be the result of drift or direction. Drift is easy. It requires nothing. It just requires not deciding. Direction requires one honest decision, made now and renewed quietly every quarter. It does not require certainty about how. It requires clarity about where. You already have the capacity for that. You have always had it. The gap between your plan and your reality was never about who you are. It was about how the plan was built. Build it differently this time. Give it 3 years. Hold the direction, not the forecast, and let the path reveal itself as you move through it. That is how things get built. That is how gaps get closed. Not all at once, 3 years at a time. And I am rooting for you, even from afar.